Welcome back. Friend. I just got back from the marketplace. Got myself a new helmet. Anyway. Sit back. Relax. Take a deep breath. Because it's time for another story. Let's begin. Midnight. I had began the day smoking a few bowls of marijuana out of my bong. I had been researching a lot of theoretical physics and trying to imagine string theory in effect and the 10 dimensions, as had been replicated by Asian university physicists using a supercomputer recently, a victory for science. I'm not going to go into physics this report, however it does play a major factor in my trip. I had left the house around 9 p.m. on New Year's night to go out and celebrate with friends. We smoked a joint and then left to go to an unlisted territory where we got some psychedelics. We got back to the house around 11:10 p.m. I had snorted half a capsule of 2CP at around 10:30 p.m. I am not aware of the dosage, but I'm guessing it was around 5 to 10 milligrams. 24:45. Okay, I had been feeling a little different around this point and we had reached the house. I felt mild sensations, however nothing remarkable. We then broke out the whip pets. I have never done a whippet before, nor have I ever done a psychedelic, besides Morning Glory, which was disappointing. I decided I could try some of them because they're non-addictive and have very temporary effects. My first few experiences with them were with a balloon. I remember inhaling, and then just fading out briefly. It had reminded me of when I used to me and my friends would purposely black out when we were kids. The tingling disassociating feeling that just whacks you in the head, and before you know it you're tuning back into reality. 1:45. It had been over an hour and was just about midnight, when it became the year 2012. I had done about 4 or 5 whip pets about this far. My friends were talking and I remember being very self-conscious of experiencing such a dumbing head rush in front of them. I would close my eyes so that I couldn't look dumb. That and the 2CP had been making me feel a little anxious and uncomfortable. I hadn't been feeling too much of the effects of the 2CP around this time, but it was climbing up. I had been experiencing some confusion from the nitrous. I sometimes would start talking, blank out, and then try to continue talking while remembering what I was saying. 2:30. We were laying in my friend's bed at this time doing nothing at this point. I had been feeling more effects and side effects of the 2CP at this point. I had continued using whip pets, but only less frequently and only about 4 more canisters. The 2CP was making my jaw tighten and giving me slight behavioral problems as I was thinking of the wildest things about things, including all the crammed physics I had learned the previous night. My pupils were extremely dilated at the time, they had consumed 80% of my cornea. As I was laying completely on my back and closing my eyes and enjoying some of the sensations and euphoria, I felt like I was being suspended upside down. 3:20. I had been doing my last whippet around this time, which had been one of the 2 most intense ones. The first intense one was right before midnight. We were listening to trippy music and as I tuned back into reality I heard the sounds resonating to one pitch just like how wavelengths and strings vibrate. This second time occurring a little after the peak of the 2CP felt the most powerful. I had 2 friends with me in the room and I was sitting on the bed. Seconds as I was inhaling the balloon it hit me, my body jumped from my shoes, my mind blanked, and 5 seconds after, as I was returning back from the head rush, I had realized one of my friends had left and went into another room, which tripped me out. It was like they gone up and left, but what had taken 10 seconds appeared to occur over 5 seconds for me as I was completely dumbfounded as my Jenga tower of sanity was momentarily toppled. 5 o'clock. The past 2 hours or so were spent laying in bed and watching movies and napping. We were in a dark room and I had experienced a few mild auditory hallucinations except those brought on by the whip pets. I hadn't really visually hallucinated throughout the trip. I had some colorful and mild CEVs and blurring and smudging of text, which I had experienced on the Morning Glory. I had experienced a little euphoria, mood lift, a bit of paranoia and insecurity. Things seemed surreal. Summary. I later realized I could have tried acid instead, but unfortunately I had already snorted the 2CP. I haven't touched a research chemical before, and I'm not in a rush to do so again. It's pretty effective, and should be taken seriously, and be aware of possible side effects. Nitrous is an interesting head rush, I won't be going out of my way to do again either. I had felt extremely enlightened as I got home, which was around 7 AM, and I hadn't slept because RCs usually keep you awake. I did some more reading on physics and experienced mild auditory hallucinations and smudging of text. And that's that. I thank you for listening. Before you go, I just wanted to tell you that I love you. Just in case nobody ever told you that today. Now, friend. Good night.